It's the kind of thing that a veterinarian would use on a $1 million racehorse, but it can also be used for people when it's refined properly. Of course, I'm talking about DMSO. That is dimethyl sulfoxide. Hey, what if I told you there's a molecule, 100% natural, that can actually interrupt nerve signals firing off pain in your body? And it comes normally from trees. It can come from lots of different sources, but normally trees, not a pharmaceutical. This is something that occurs naturally in nature. So you're not going to be having that long, nasty list of side effects that's longer than the instructions themselves. And it's something that's been studied in peer review research for over 70 years. In fact, it was discovered well over 100 years ago. And today, we're going all in on one of its most powerful applications. In fact, it's often overlooked, and that is nerve pain. If you're dealing with burning, buzzing, shooting, pins and needles, even that sensitivity just to touch or the passing wind, which can sometimes happen with nerve pain. And it can interrupt with sleep. It can interrupt your enjoyment. It can even interrupt just being able to put on a shirt. Well, if that's the case, this video is for you, because by the end of it, you're going to understand exactly why DMSO works on nerve pain and what the science says. This is all grounded in science. Hey, welcome to the Herbal Mana Podcast. This is where we explore how to hurt less and live more. I'm Todd Bailey, CEO and Chief Product Tester. Fortunately or unfortunately, I've got the right history for testing products, so I'm the guy. Before we get started, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. This is for educational purposes only, based on my experience, research, and conversation with healthcare professionals. Always consult your healthcare provider when you make a change in your health routine. All right, let's dive in. Here's what we're dealing with. Nerve pain. Clinically, it's called neuropathy or neuropathic pain, and it's different from regular muscle soreness or a bruise or an achy joint. When your nerves are irritated, inflamed, or damaged somehow, they start misfiring, and they could just keep on misfiring. Instead of just carrying a signal that says, hey, something's wrong, they just start broadcasting static, just buzzing, tingling, zapping. And that deep aching nerve pressure, it can just keep humming like a little electrical charge, and it's frustrating. The inflammation causing that nerve irritation is often in tissue you can't see. It's buried under the skin. It's in the nerve pathway, somewhere in the joint or skin or other tissue. Standard over-the-counter creams mostly just sit on the surface. They might feel like they're helping. They may distract the pain signal, but they don't actually address the problem. That's the gap DMSO fills in. And I'll explain exactly how that works in just a moment. A DMSO itself, if you're new to this, it's a sulfur compound. It's a natural compound. Your body needs sulfur, and it works really well with DMSO. DMSO is derived primarily from the cell walls of trees, specifically the lignin. It's a natural byproduct from the wood pulping process, but it's also found in other places. You'll find it in phytoplankton, in marine algae, in quite a few foods like asparagus. You'll also find it in beer and various teas. It's really common. It's throughout your body in measurable amounts. And of course, what we're looking at here is a much stronger application, something that is going to be put on your body. Now, here are the things that DMSO could do for the nerve pain. First, the properties. Number one, it's transdermal. DMSO will pass through your skin. I mean, through it. It won't just sit on top. It's not like one of those over-the-counter gels or creams you put on. They just kind of sit there. We're talking about 10 to 20 minutes for DMSO to absorb through the dermis and into the underlying tissue. So it can reach your joints, muscles, and in this case, for today's topic, the nerve-adjacent tissue, and affect that tissue that is setting off the nerves. All right, number two, DMSO is analgesic. It interacts with pain-carrying C-type nerve fibers and actually slows or blocks that conduction, meaning we're stopping those nerve signals. There's a peer-reviewed study by Evans, Reed, and Sharp. They applied DMSO directly to cat sural nerves and showed that even at low concentrations of only 5 to 7%, which is not much, DMSO was able to slow the C fiber conduction velocity. At higher concentrations, it blocked nerve conduction entirely, meaning those signals just didn't get fired out, which is awesome. That is a real mechanism for real pain relief. We're not just throwing a Band-Aid on. We're not just masking a symptom. You're actually getting some real relief. All right, the third reason that DMSO is really helpful is that it's anti-inflammatory. All by itself, it's anti-inflammatory. The DMSO will produce the cytokines. Those are the chemical messengers that drive inflammation. So we're getting to the real root of the inflammation. It also scavenges, meaning it grabs onto and gets rid of free radicals. Those are damaged molecules that cause ongoing tissue problems, ongoing tissue inflammation. It just kind of runs a cycle and it keeps the whole process going. And we don't want that. We want to stop that. We want to break the cycle. So it's kind of like a natural NSAID, a natural a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, but without the GI side effects like you have with aspirin or Aleve or ibuprofen. All right, the fourth way that DMSO is amazing and helps is that it's a vasodilator. Dilator means it's opening up. It opens up blood vessels, which helps move the inflammatory fluids away from the site that's been affected, and it helps to bring in the nutrients that support the healing. It's just making a bigger pathway for getting the bad stuff out, the good stuff back in. Now, we're not just talking about dulling the pain. You're supporting your body's ability to actually fix the underlying problem. And here's another big thing. This is where DMSO is awesome. DMSO is a great carrier. It will take other beneficial substances with it, like essential oils, magnesium, MSM, vitamins. It will take those and deliver them deeper to the tissue than they can possibly get on their own. So when you use essential oils, there's subabsorption. We want to amp that up. We want it to go deeper. We want them to penetrate more so we get all that goodness in. That is part of the real power of DMSO in a well-designed formula. We want a well-designed formula. All right. As far as DMSO, it's remarkable on its own, but when you pair it with the right ingredients, it gets even better. If you want more information, if you want to dig into nerve pain and the sorts of things that can help, go dive into PubMed online. PubMed. On PubMed, you'll find peer-reviewed scientific studies. I hope you had some benefit from this. I hope this is helping you to hurt less and live more. If it did, I hope you'll subscribe and save and maybe share this with someone. And then don't forget to look down below. You'll find a coupon to take a few bucks off your next order from Herbal Mana. Thanks for tuning in.